Hello everyone, hope you're doing well today. So Keir Starmer has declared war on the English, quite literally, not my words, his. And I've said for a while on this channel that I believe that we are in the era of identity, that is the core political issue of the decade, if not the next few decades. I think it's the rock that's beneath the immigration issue and the source of all of our political positions in this day and age now. Now, this came a bit earlier than I thought it would. I thought it would take a few years to develop, but it's clearly no longer a fringe issue given it's dominated the Labour Party conference. And I'm aware that many people are now in flux thinking about where to land on this issue. And I just want to say, I know many people are frightened of the identity issue because they've been so heavily propagandized. They've been told about the Second World War, how it's evil and twisted. It means they innately hate people if they acknowledge that they are ethnically English. But as I say, this is all propaganda. There really is nothing to fear, but they have to make you believe there's something to fear so they can push through their globalist liberal project. My own experience has been, when you recognise you have your own roots, you actually feel more human, more at home, deeper, that bit more secure in your identity and your country. And far from it making you hate other people, it actually aids you in understanding other people because you no longer see them as rootless, aimless, soulless blank slates there to be programmed by the liberal regime. Now you can see the magnitude of this issue given it was front and centre of the government's party conference. Let's have a look at this clip of Starmer. Look, it's clearly choreographed, we all know that, but he wants to get across the key message here.
If you say or imply that people cannot be English or British because of the colour of their skin, that mixed heritage families owe you an explanation, that people who've lived here for generations, raised their children here, built their lives here, working in our schools, our hospitals, running businesses, are our neighbours. If you say they should now be deported, then mark my words, we will fight you with everything we have, because you are the enemy of national renewal.
Firstly, I absolutely love how baffled and confused Starmer looks throughout this speech. It looks as if the Starmbot does not compute the cheering and the clapping. I mean, he looks like he's trying to calculate whether it's positive or negative in his Starm brain. Not that it would matter to him, of course. We know the Starminator just ploughs on through mass opinion regardless of his popularity. It's like he's going to go back to Labour HQ and be briefed by Morgan McSweeney and ask, why were people shouting, waving flags and cheering like that? And McSweeney will say, because we're trying to make you look popular, Keir. Ah, excellent. This is exactly the sort of thing that Starmbot cannot compute. Although as vacuous as they tried to make things seem, it didn't really pay off when you look at the crowd. I mean, look at poor old Rachel Reeves. She doesn't know if she's coming or going. She doesn't have the confidence to lead an ovation. I know I shouldn't feel sorry for Rachel Reeves. She's the type of person that would see me do 10 hard years of labour in a gulag where I face re-education by an aggressive Mehdi Hassan and Owen Jones. But I just can't help it. She just looks so lost. But look, it's very clear what's actually going on here. The Labour Party and the Liberal regime in general are losing their moral authority. Ergo, they have to create a boogeyman to justify their globalist liberal worldview. As I've said in recent videos, they're losing the moral frame. They're being shown to be censorious, vicious, violent, deluded, and even cruel. I say cruel because while they dress it up as fighting the evil far-right racists, in reality they have now come out as pro-divesting the British people of a homeland. Now you can tell this is political propaganda because Starmer's not even addressing the issue. He implies it's all about being white or non-white, which is untrue. The argument is about being British, English, Scottish, Welsh, Northern Irish, and that you have a unique tie to these lands, if that's the case. Just like the Maori has a tie to New Zealand. By the way, the English have been in England longer than the Maoris in New Zealand. I thought another thing that came across very badly was Starmer saying he's going to fight this, because we all know Starmer doesn't fight fair. He doesn't mean an exchange of ideas. He means censoring you. He means throwing people in jail for tweets. He means not caring at all about the mood of the country and pressing on regardless. I mean, is even the most sycophantic Blairite even going to buy this?
Free speech is a British value and we have guarded it for centuries.
Yeah, sure thing, Keir. I mean, trusting you as a guardian of free speech is akin to trusting someone like Jimmy Savile to be a responsible babysitter for your children. Yet as much as they tried to dress this up as a liberal reawakening, the reality of how it landed was clear on the BBC. On their homepage, they had 3 pieces dedicated to this, every single one mentioning Nigel Farage. Number 1, Starmer had to show his critics he can take on Farage. Farage doesn't believe in Britain, Starmer tells Labour conference. Lammy backtracks on Farage Hitler Youth claim. Now, I think we can learn 3 key things from this. Number 1, it's classic leftism in a way. They always have to paint themselves as the victim, fighting the power and so on, even when they are the power. I think it's a bit of a theme that we've seen with the left across the West, that they tend to struggle to lead. And I think it's number 1 because they're spiritually feminine, but number 2, when they're at their best, it's kind of that almost divine criticism they might have for the power structure to point out the injustices of the world. That was very much ruined by the woke era, but at least that's what they're best at. They're not so good at leading. Number 2, and this is the big one, it seemed to me from the rhetoric of the Labour Party conference, from the media afterwards, that it's almost as if Farage is already in government. He's already the spiritual leader of the country, and behind that, I think that even says a more rightist, nationalist position is almost the default. I mean, the Labour Party certainly seem to think that. The final thing is that the Labour Party clearly need a boogeyman to centre their own worldview, and this was represented in Lammy's stupid claim that Farage was in the Hitler Youth, only the wrong country and a few decades out there, Dave. But as much as they tried to smear Farage, I do think it backfired. It made them look petty and vindictive, and Farage and his team got their response bang on, in my opinion. The optics were exactly right. You had Farage looking very prime ministerial, Houses of Parliament in the background, British flags with a certain dark hue to them, symbolising the dark times. If I was to be a bit critical, I'd say Farage's rhetoric was a little bit hyperbolic, given he was stating Lammy was effectively calling for violence upon him after the Charlie Kirk assassination, although I do understand it from a moral framing point of view. There is this shift going on where the left are no longer seen as lovely, tolerant and kind. But even if Farage did make a bit of a misstep there, you can always rely on someone like Diane Abbott to come and put a foot in her mouth and seal the deal for you.
And the danger is, I'm all for people giving him a good kicking.
Yeah, good choice of words there, Diane. I bet she's a freaking nightmare at Labour HQ, because at the end of the day, they've shot themselves in the foot with their own ideology with Abbott, haven't they? I mean, she's black and a woman, so to them, she should be a goddess, and you can't really ever stop her when she's mid-flow. But look, the core point of this video is that while Starmer will be getting plenty of belly rubs and pats on the back from the unbearable, trendy London liberals in their elite bubble, he's gone to war with the nation here, and this is a massive unforced error. Why he feels it necessary to actually go to war with the indigenous people, I can only assume is naivety or ideological possession. Personally, I don't think they've picked up in the shift in the moral frame yet, and they don't know how betrayed the people feel. Not to mention, we're not in the era anymore of people who are just foaming at the mouth and just hate people because they have a different skin colour. Very few people are pro anything like that. The way that I see the shift is something more like this. Remember when you're a lad and you're at school or at your football team or whatever, and there was a black lad or an Asian kid who turned up and you felt a bit sorry for them. You thought, I hope they don't feel left out and no one's being mean to them. Say, yeah, come on Tyrone, come on, Mohammed, join in, and we'd all be friends and try and make sure they don't feel left out. And yeah, once in a blue moon, there was the odd person who wouldn't welcome Mohammed or Tyrone for whatever reason, but these people were very rare and they were looked down upon by the group for being needlessly cruel. Now, it's like the liberal ideologues saw this dynamic at play and thought, the miracle of multiculturalism at work, and thought it was a green light to flood the country with every single person from every corner of the world. And not only did they flood Britain as well as the rest of the Western world with people from every corner, they also radicalised them against the host population. These people are evil colonialists, they've got white privilege, they've got unconscious bias against you. The reason why your life isn't working out is because of them. So now, after decades of us asking you to tone down the aggressive rhetoric towards us, to limit mass migration, you've ignored us every single time, and people have hit the point where they think, enough's enough, I don't want to be made a hated minority in my own country. Yet Keir Starmer and the rest of the liberal regime are still functioning under the dynamic of poor old Mohammed and Tyrone, who's not getting included in the sports game. That ended decades ago, Keir. Things have shifted now. It's the other way around, and the moral frame has changed. Not to mention, anyone who's been paying attention now knows that the Liberals use this kind of rhetoric to inspire a sort of pathos in the population so they can push through their globalist agenda underneath. So to be clear, The reason why people are turning back to root level identities isn't because they've suddenly been overcome by a spectre of hatred. It's because they've realised that their homeland is the only one that they have, and they're being made a minority within it. Not to mention, people are very fond towards their homeland. They love it. It's their little corner of the earth, and they have nowhere else to go. They don't want to see it turned into some variant of Singapore, Mogadishu, and Islamabad. That's not an evil instinct. That's a humane instinct. And I'll just say to close, I know it's very difficult at the moment with the way the powers that be are behaving, but they want nothing more than you to be angry, full of hate, snarling, foaming at the mouth. This is exactly the cliche that justifies their worldview. Thankfully, something much deeper and richer is being born, and with that true energy, we can overcome the darkness, the chaos, and the corrosion of modernity. As always, these are just my views. Do let me know what you think down below. Please do join the Substack if you wish, linked in the description, as is the sister channel, The Sacred Way. It's all about personal spiritual transformation. Do feel free to check that out as well, and do subscribe to this channel if you're new. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day.